Welcome back to another episode of What the Fuck Happened. In this episode, I talk about a time where I decided to record a song with a cellist. Nothing complex, just vibes. What could possibly go wrong? Well, she shows up wearing a David Bowie shirt. We jammed on Space Oddity. We jammed on Space Oddity awesomely. And I'm like, this is really gonna work and sound good. And then I show her my song with 3 chords in it, A minor, C, and G. You know, not like we're rewriting the Brandenburg Concerto. And she freaks out, shuts down, and walks out. What the fuck happened? Well, let me tell you a little bit about this. Now, I know some of you said that you like my stories with like the more sarcastic bent to it, but this really got me thinking philosophically about modernity and how people socialize, and I don't know, but it also got me thinking about like musicianship and what that means to people and whether it's a valuable thing anymore and that kind of stuff. But at any rate, I had this song and it was real easy, and I'm tuned down a whole step here, but it was just like A minor, C, and G. It wasn't nothing complex, very basic stuff. And so anyway, I had this song called Into the Deep, and I will post a link in the description. And if you like these conversations about what the fuck happened, please feel free to like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. So I had this song called Into the Deep that I wrote a while ago, and I was expanding sections of it to include a violin and cello section. But I wanted to do something different compared to all of my other songs. I wanted to, instead of recording to a click, which I have done in the past and did all the parts and snapped it to the grid and quantized everything, I wanted to do this very live, and I wanted to capture a performance of musicians in a room so that that recording would sound the way I want it to sound, with a live kind of energetic kind of feel that I feel is, this is my opinion, my feeling, is lacking in a lot of modern music, because it's just, most of it is recorded with people just showing up at different times and recording a part, and it gets copied and pasted and edited. And I know most people these days don't care, and that's what they like. It doesn't sound good to me. I can tell it sounds like that. It doesn't appeal to me. And just in terms of my own music, I wanted to do something that was more organic sounding to me. So I wanted to have a live performance captured, which basically meant we needed to rehearse those sections to get a good performance. So there would be a few rehearsals or jams, and then we would go and hit record. So it was just guitar, acoustic guitar, voice, and I wanted a cello, and then I was going to overdub parts on top of that live performance. So I needed a cellist. I didn't have one. So I literally went online. This is 2023, and I was living in Colorado Springs at the time, and I went online and got the address and emails of every single music school, music director in the entire area code, and I basically sent out an email with a very rough MP3 demo of my song, and I said, I'm looking for a cellist, and if your school has one that might be interested in rehearsing and recording, please feel free to submit this to them and give them my contact information. And I got one response. It was from a girl, and she was a lot younger, which I did have some reservations, but I was like, your family knows this is, and like everything. And she was like, yeah. And so I said, great, let's meet at a coffee shop first and discuss this more. So we met at a coffee shop in public, and we were just talking about this. And I said, you heard the song. It's really simple. I just need someone to play root notes, back me up. I'm going to be playing these chords. I'm going to be singing. Probably not well, but the idea is to get better at it the more we do it. And she understood. She's a musician, so she got it. And we got along. She had kind of like a dark emo goth kind of vibe. I know they're not the same thing, but whatever. And it went well. The meeting went well, and I was like, great. Okay, so we'll meet here at my place, at this time. Great. Okay, cool. That day shows up. She shows up in a David Bowie shirt, and I love David Bowie. I'm a big fan of David Bowie. And I had just been working on Space Oddity, and I had actually written out the vocal melody and the chords and the string arrangements. I happened to have done that just prior. So I was like, you know what? Let's just try something real fast. Let's try this Bowie song. And I was like, okay, let's do Space Oddity. And we launched into Space Oddity, and it sounded like really good. And I was like, wow, this is like amazing sounding, like really good sound. I was like, okay, and it was just awesome to hear the acoustic guitar. It was a 12 string, me singing, and a cellist in this nice big open room with hardwood floors, and it was just like, yes, this is it. Great. I was like, this is going really well. And we did that for a bit, and it sounded awesome. And I was like, okay, let's try Into the Deep. And I'll edit this here in a minute here later. I'll put the version that I finally recorded, because she walked out on me, had virtual software synths and all this kind of stuff in there. It turned out okay, but the part that I actually wanted to go to a local Indian restaurant and ask if they had any friends or relatives, or if they knew anyone who played tabla. I know that sounds like racist, but where else are you going to find a tabla player? I don't know. So I figured I'd just go there and start chatting. That's what people used to do back before cell phones. Like there weren't you had to have conversations with people, and I miss that. So I kind of just like doing that anyway. But so I went there. I was going to go there, but anyway, the final version has like all kinds of like dombek and hand drums and djembe and like cello parts and string sections and multiple guitar parts. And I ended up really like doing a lot of stuff, and I'll post a little bit of it right here. So that was the final version that you can see on iTunes, and you can buy it. It would mean a lot to me if you do, or just check it out, drop a comment or whatever. But I wanted to get that down live with an orchestra. That was my goal, which I didn't get close to. Oh, I got close to it. But anyway, we do the David Bowie thing, and I wanted to get to my song, and I said, okay, let's do my song now. And she got a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit nervous, but I was just trying to, I was like, it's really simple. It's way simpler than the David Bowie song is. David Bowie song has quite a few chords in it, quite a few. Mine had arguably very few in it. And that clip that I just showed you, that was actually the complex section that I added after the fact. If you listen to the whole song, it's actually very, very simple. It's just 3 chords. That's what I wanted to play with her. And so I put the music up on the stand, and she kind of froze, and I just strummed the 3 chords, just like we were playing before. I was just playing just different chords, my song, and she froze, and she just couldn't do it. And I was like, just play root notes, just like you were doing with the David Bowie song. It's just like literally like what is it, like E and C or something. But over here it was just like A, C, and G, and she had very good intonation. So she was actually like good. So it wasn't that, but then like we went to play it, and she was like really freezing up and was just like unsure, like she was just stopping mid bow or whatever. And then at one point she just said, I got to go to my boyfriend's house. And she put her cello away and got her car and left. And I never heard from her again. It made me think about a lot of things. I know this is not a terribly exciting episode of What the Fuck Happened, but that's basically what the fuck happened. And at the time, I did take it personally. I was like, did I do something? Did I say something? Like, I don't know what happened. Like, is my voice that bad? I mean, I know I'm not a great singer, but like I can carry the tune enough that we can like play it. And looking back, I don't think it was any of those things. I think she just, I don't know. I think she was really intimidated by, you know, structure versus unstructured. I think it's one thing to play a song that you know how the song goes, that has been already written and you're copying a part. And especially like classically trained musicians are very good at that. Some of them are excellent at that. But you put a classically trained musician in a room with other musicians and you say, key of A minor, go. They have no idea where to even start. It's like, where's the charts? Where's the sheet music? What's a tempo? What do you want me to do? They can't do the first thing. They have no idea where to start. Whereas like a rock musician or like an alternative musician, A minor, like they might not even care about what the key is. They might just start playing, you know? And there's just kind of a difference there. But then it got me thinking, like a lot of musicians nowadays who make music don't even make music with people. They sit in a room by themselves and they prompt AI to like give them a song after they put lyrics in there. They say, give me a song about a boy that goes to a town by himself in the style of Latin pop. There's your song. And then they're like, yeah, I'm a songwriter. And I just don't relate to that. I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's one way to get like lots of sponsored content and maybe like generate money that way, I guess, if that's your goal. For me, the goal is to play music with people. That itself is the goal, to like basically enter into a trance-like state with other musicians and play live in a room, hopefully for other people. That's what I'm into. But that's really not a thing anymore. But anyway, this isn't the most exciting episode of What the Fuck Happened. But, you know, it did make me ask really like what the fuck happened. Because, you know, David Bowie, okay. My song suddenly gotta go. Huh? What the fuck happened? Anyway, a little bit tired, so hope that was enjoyable to you and somewhat informative. I don't know, it made me think about like modern discourse too and how people communicate with each other or don't. And how, you know, when I was growing up, people would just randomly approach people, randomly, and just start talking, have a conversation. There's nothing to do other than have a conversation with people in real life. That's what people did all the time, or you were not talking to anyone. There was no social media. So I just feel like people were a little bit more okay with ambiguity and okay with a lack of structure and okay with boredom than they are now. But I don't want to turn this into a socio-political discourse. Yeah. So drop a comment if you haven't subscribed already. Please do. Tell me what you like about this series or not. And adios, and let's keep that money machine rolling and keep dropping bombs on brown people in the Middle East in the name of Build-A-Bear and Baskin Robbins. Adios.